Are you ready to unlock the secrets to becoming a great leader? Great leadership has a couple of important traits. I'm going to share with you 7 essential traits to being a great leader. And being a great leader is something that you can build on, that you can learn, that you can grow into. To be the best manager, to be the best CEO, to be the best entrepreneur that you can be, but to lead your organization in the right direction, you need a couple of essential traits. If you don't have these essential traits that I'm going to share with you today, it's going to slow you down. It's going to keep you from reaching your full potential. Number 1 is vision. Vision is about playing chess, not checkers. Vision is about seeing things in the future, watching trends, identifying where you want to be, where you're heading as an organization. Vision is about future thinking. Vision's imperative because you have to be thinking bigger than everybody else. Here's the thing about vision. When I started my company, it's very, very clear that I'm a visionary and I was going to build something. But I didn't always have the exact result that we ended up in my mind. I more so focused on the vision of what was going to make the right recipe for success. Who were the right people to surround myself with? Who were the people that we needed around us at all times to make it better? What was the deliverable that mattered most? How could we serve clients and customers in a better way? How could we take the idea and execute it at a much higher level? Well, it takes vision. It takes literally visualizing the success that you want, but you have to break it down in those little steps to get there. So I always start with the end in mind. And it's not the exact end you're gonna end up with, but it's the end you're aiming for. And when you have that in your brain, you can build the plan to meet it. So vision in leadership is crucial because visionaries have a very, very clear idea of where they're heading. The other thing that I think is important is I mentioned chess versus checkers. What's the difference? Checkers is one move at a time, but chess, if you're really playing chess, the true thinkers in chess are thinking so many moves ahead. Being a visionary and being a leader that thinks in that visionary perspective will make you better at everything you do. Integrity is number 2. Integrity is something that you must have. It's a core value in leadership. You have to say what you mean and deliver upon it. You are the example. Leadership is influence, is what John Maxwell says, and it's really, really important to actually remember that the integrity of what you're saying is really important. I talk about internal integrity and external integrity. Internal integrity is that you are what you say you are and you're delivering upon what you want to deliver on. This has been a core belief and a core value in my company since I started it, and it's something that I find extremely imperative. I need to have the integrity to lead so people trust me. They want to follow. My influence matters. I am who I say I am and I deliver upon what I said. In the old days, I used to say, your word is your bond. When I shake your hand and I look at you and I say, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what we need to do. That integrity is imperative. The external integrity I talk about is something a little bit different, and that is when you see things not going well, you actually have to have the confidence to speak up, stand up for integrity. So when you know a project isn't going in the right direction, leaders should stand up and say it. They shouldn't internally believe that it's the wrong thing and not deliver upon what is the right thing. Leadership is about not only believing it to your core, but standing up for what you believe when you believe it, and then pursuing it, helping others pursue it, influencing others to be the best version of themselves. Integrity is a core value, an essential leadership trait, and something that every single leader should put at the forefront of becoming the best leader they possibly can. Number 3 is communication. For someone like me, communicating shouldn't be a problem. But believe it or not, it still can be. It's something that sometimes you assume people are thinking the way that you're thinking, or they're gonna do something the way that you need it done. And the reality is communication makes everything in leadership better. A great story of communication is Coach K. When kids would come into Duke basketball, they would come into that first practice, and I heard a story of his leadership, of how he would actually make all the kids say everything in practice that they were doing. Every minuscule, tiny, little detail. Now, why would he do that? We're stretching left, we're leaning left. we're stretching right, we're dribbling the basketball, we're passing the ball to this person. Why is he building that skill? He's building that skill because a team that communicates on the court is better prepared to win. They work better together. They know what each other is thinking because they're saying it out loud. Screen left, screen right, under the basket, pick and roll, whatever it might be. He's teaching them to be comfortable. And let's be honest, some people are very comfortable with communication. Some people don't like it at all. The type of communication is key. This is another thing in business and leadership that I find extremely imperative. Communicating is not just sending an email.
You've got mail.
Or a text. This is a generational thing. There's a baby boomer and beyond generation, even Gen X to some extent. They pick up the phone and they talk to you. Have you ever read a text or an email where you take it out of context, you didn't understand it the right way, and the person goes, I didn't mean it like that at all, and you thought they meant something that they didn't? That happens all the time in leadership. Communicate in the way not only that's going to make you most effective, but how the person you're communicating with receives information best. If you're dealing with someone that you need to actually give some details, don't just send a text. Don't just send an email. Pick up the phone and talk to them. Bring them in the office and speak to them. Communication is crucial. Number 4 is leaders must be able to pivot. They must be adaptable. They must have the ability to shift. You set a goal, you set a course, and if something isn't right, you change. If you're driving down a road and a tree has fallen across the road, you must go a different way. Or you're going to chop up the tree, or you're going to move the tree, or maybe it's small and you can run over the tree, but it's changing your plan. Leadership is not going to stay the same all the time. There's going to be lots of different personalities and lots of different humans you're working with that thrive in different environments. There's going to be challenges, product launches that don't go the way you expect them to be, technology snafus. Being adaptable and having the ability to pivot when something is working right or not going so right is crucial in leadership. And again, if you're a visionary and you're seeing a couple moves ahead, you're probably adapting to that earlier. You're thinking about it before anybody else is, and you're ready when it appears. Number 5 is empathy. Now, when I say empathy, I don't mean sympathy. I see lots of leaders that have sympathy. They feel sorry for you when something happens, but they don't put themselves in your shoes. Empathy is a bigger version. It's a feeling. It's an understanding. It's a correlation to how you feel right now. Empathy is making sure that you not only know what someone's going through and you may feel sorry for the situation they have at hand. Leadership is about leading in a way where people know, like, and trust you, but most importantly, they know you feel what they're going through. They believe in you to be a part of the journey, and they know that you have their back. Empathy is mandatory. Now, I believe in empathy with action. I don't believe in wallowing in empathy. I don't believe in sitting in empathy as a leader and not creating an action step to help them, to help lead, to guide. But sometimes you have to start by just sitting and listening, understanding, and remembering how it felt when you were in the same position. Number 6, decisiveness, decision-making, confidence in your decisions. These are mandatory. When we talk about being a decisive leader, we talk about the kind of leader that is walking through the woods with their military troop and they studied the plan. They know where they're heading. They get to a fork in the road and they know they must go right, and everybody follows them. We're not talking about the leader that's standing in front of the room or in that path and they say, I'm not sure if we go left or right. I'm not sure if we should make a move here or change here. I glanced at the plans last night, but I'm just not sure. Nobody's following that leader. Nobody wants to follow that leader. And again, somebody else will step up and say, I studied the plan. I know the route. It's this way and we're going right. Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely times in leadership where you have made a decision and you are decisive and you're sure. And somebody brings up a reason why you may not be sure. But I'm definitely saying that leaders must be decisive in their decision making. They must be confident. Confidence is contagious when you're leading people. And when you're making decisions, you're able to do that with that confidence that you need so people follow you. Here's another really, really key component when it comes to decision making. You can't make too many in a day. If you're making too many decisions, you can't have time to think about the decisiveness of the next decision. If you're overwhelmed and you're just going from decision to decision to decision, that is not confidence. That's fatigue. So as a part of confident decision making, we must take a moment to pause and think. We must have time in our day to study and analyze, to think. I've heard it used as thinking time. Keith Cunningham talks about this in his book, and it's really, really valuable because thinking time allows you to make better decisions. Don't make too many in a day because your decisiveness will go down. The last one is number 7. You want to be an effective leader, you have to be self-aware. What are you great at? What are you not great at? If you want to be the best leader you can possibly be, you must know what your unique ability is, where your strengths lie. But you also must be aware enough to know what you're not great at. Where are your blind spots? What are you weak at? What do you wish you could do better? And guess what? If you surround yourself with people that lift you up, that give you the ability to see things you don't see, that makes you a more effective leader. If you have the ability to build towards your strength, towards what you're great at, and you're self-aware enough to know when you step out of your lane, you got to know as a leader that it's time to ask somebody else, to bring somebody else in. Leadership is not doing it alone. It's realizing that you're aware, you're self-aware enough to know what you're great at and what you're not. You're also self-aware enough to be able to read a room, to be able to understand when someone looks a certain way but is saying something else, when they're not confident about an idea, when they didn't study or gather the data appropriate to make the decision or to help you on the project. You have to be aware. You have to be self-aware enough to know that you are doing the right thing and you've put the right people in the room. And you got to be able to be wrong. Self-awareness also is a great trait so that when you're wrong, you're aware that are you fighting because you want to be right or you want to be happy? You want to make the right decision or you want to be right in your decision? These are things that self-awareness can help you with as a leader. Leadership is all about growth and learning. Leadership is not something that I had figured out from the beginning. I was a natural leader in some ways, and I was a very, very underdeveloped leader in others. I had to take myself and really change my mindset, especially from the I and fighting against the world and doing it all on my own to the we and building everybody up around me, learning that giving was so much better than taking at any point in time. Leadership was about giving of yourself, finding the people around you. And I did a video on the mindset shift just like this that I think can help you. If you found this video to be interesting, then the next one's going to be even better.